A big video has dropped, a video that probably would have caused me to poop myself if this came out in 2016, but it is 2025 and it's not that interesting anymore, but I'm still going to talk about it. So let's just cut to the chase. You've probably heard by now that iDubbbz dropped a content cop on H3H3 Ethan Klein, and I did pre-watch it just to make sure I knew what I was getting into. Not, didn't want to get jebaited or rug pulled like I did when I was 13 or 14 watching the Jake Paul content cop, which was really a Rice Gum content cop, which was, by the way, it was like a mind-blowing event for me. I'm like, whoa, he just switched them. And I got baited. It was a crazy day. And so I pre-watched it, and from what I've gathered, it's not really a content cop in the same way that his other content cops were content cops. This is more of like a commentary drama recap with like some disagreements they had. And he's basically going through the arguments and the controversies and pretty much dismantling them and rebuttaling a lot of the points that Ethan's made and giving his take on the situation now. That is not necessarily a content cop in the same way that the other ones are, because they were about content, why people's videos were bad, why their brands sucked, etc. And this is kind of just about Ethan Klein having character flaws and doing things that are bad, It would be the equivalent of like doing a content cop on Logan Paul, but it's like more about Logan Paul's crypto scams, like in the way CoffeeZilla does it, which isn't really content. It's just like, this guy's just like a piece of shit because of his actions. So that's kind of what I've gathered from pre-watching this video. And look, I'm just going to be honest, because I want to stay impartial here. I think that's kind of important, keeping a level of neutrality, especially when you're looking at this, content cop, because it is an hour long. I would be foolish to say that it's an hour of complete nothingness. And I don't want to just disregard it all because maybe I don't like iDubbbz, but I also don't like Ethan Klein, so I think that balances me out and actually in a weird way gives me a pretty unbiased perspective, right? Because if I don't like one person, I don't like the other person, that does kind of give me like enough credibility to say, well, I don't lean one way specifically on who I hate more. So I think that makes me pretty trustworthy source on this. But I will say, like, I've kind of tuned out a lot of this internet drama stuff. Like, I know Ethan Klein has had a pretty tumultuous last few months in terms of the amount of drama that he's been involved in. I've really not paid attention to it as closely as I may have like a year or two ago, partially because I'm trying to just like not spend all my day on Twitter, and also partially because I also don't want to spend my whole day on Twitter. So it's like, not that I am trying to not do it because it's healthy for me, but it's that, and I also don't find it interesting enough. Anyway, that's enough rambling. We'll get into the content cop. We'll talk about it. I'll give my thoughts, and hopefully by the end of this, everyone is happy and healthy and is learning and expanding their mind with knowledge and has a thirst for growth and whatever the fuck. But I will say, it's crazy, the comments. I guess we'll start before watching to look at some of the comments in the description. Like, if we look at the description has a list of creators who helped put this together, and it says Hasan, de-escalation, Sean DeBlack, Frogan, Kirk Honda, who I don't know who this is, Noah Sampson, and Matt Lieb, who I also don't know who this is, but Hasan, de-escalation, Sean DeBlack, Frogan, and Noah Sampson. So these are kind of the Mount Rushmore of like leftist Nightmare Blunt rotation, I guess is the best way to put it, like leftist cringe lords, for lack of a better term. I mean, a lot of these people have had clips that they will be known for because of how bad they are. And I mean, look, bro, I don't want to be that guy, but you look up a lot of these people and then you find a lot of the stuff they're saying and you're kind of left with a bad taste in your mouth. Look, that's just to help the behind the scenes, okay? We can't judge this entire video just by the people who assisted in its creation. That's not fair. But if we go to the comments section, I said, what we do here is smoke crack, 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 in reference to the iconic intro song, what we do here is go back. But this is a recession indicator. I think that might be true. The last time a content cop came out, I'm pretty sure Trump was in office. Trump is in office yet again. Maybe that's a sign. Who knows? I had to check what damn year it was. Bro, last time I saw a Content Cop, I swear I didn't have armpit hair or something like that. Shit's crazy. Since the last Content Cop, I've gotten 2 degrees and had 3 children. Jesus Christ. But yeah, that's enough beating around the bush. Let's get into it. I'll stop stalling, okay? So this is the Content Cop. Let's get into it.
The beach is surprisingly dangerous. Consider the
fucking thing in our defense, like, actually, Hila's not a baby killer. Actually, accusing Ethan of killing his dog is maybe too far, because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group that anybody who says any fucking thing, they will attempt to ruin their lives. And once again, I'm the crazy one. It's not bad enough that I have
Okay.
What we
All right,
do here is
go back. All right, I know how this song goes. Yeah. Thanks for that. All right. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of expected this song to invoke something in me that it's not really invoking. I thought that it would instantly transport me back to the better days of like Supreme box logos and bathing ape hoodies, back when my biggest fear was studying for algebra. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it's ringing how I thought it would ring. I don't know. Something about it just doesn't hit. Like, for our generation, I feel like this would be some Vietnam, like, trigger word for a veteran. Like, if there's a veteran and you say the word Sam, he starts fucking seizuring because that was the name of his buddy whose legs got blown off while, you know, they were in a bunker. It's like, whoa, this song would do the same thing to me as that trigger word, but it's just not. I'm just so numb to it. I don't know. It's not really, it doesn't feel the same. It's sort of like going back to your high school hometown and that dude is still wearing his Leatherman like 20 years after graduation. Yeah. I mean, it's basically seeing your high school friend that was like really cool. He hasn't changed one bit. Even though iDubbbz has changed a lot, it just feels as if this should be more special and it's just not. I don't know. Is that Joji? The pink guy? That would be cool if Joji just threw on the pink suit and really made this a flashback to remember. Pretty secluded. You got a cabin out there now?
What's up, everybody? I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the Hasan broadcast coming to you live from a
The
cloudy
goat.
day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all those MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I've finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's Content Nuke, and I'm not going to call it context puke,
Hasan Leftist 92. This chat's fake, right?
as I normally do, because the
This part's ironic.
reality of the matter is,
Klein, yeah, this looks like a mega leftoid. This is fake.
it was brilliant. Nothing was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a vicious anti-Semite. It's true. Most important.
A rare moment of honesty. Pretty candid from the goat, you'd think. I mean, did iDubbbz squeeze this out of him? He threatened him with his lethal boxing skills to tell the truth.
Importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally.
He's more attractive than you mentally? I've never heard someone describe intelligence as sexy in the same way that looks are, but alright.
I've been lying about
Even though it's an ironic statement, I don't think that framing makes much sense.
everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the Content Nuke, and he was right about that too.
It is ironic,
How did he know
though.
everything?
What about spiritually? That's just like Jew versus Muslim.
How?
Which is essentially what this entire thing is. This is just Jew versus Muslim.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan.
Snap.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
There he is.
To be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is no longer
Oh no.
time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up.
Oh, bruh. Yeah, bro thinks he's part of the team. You're not!
This is no longer
Hey, bruh.
time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up.
You thought you could just sneak this in here, we wouldn't notice? Sticks out like a sore thumb.
Ethan.
This is no longer a dream. This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to.
This was, how long did it take to plan this one? To get the whole gang together?
Wake up.
Wake up,
Ethan, wake up.
Oh, no.
wake up, Ethan.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up.
Since anyone?
Just wake up.
Zids anyone? That's kind of weird.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do a react content yet.
Wow, this is so fucking cool, dude. This is like the Team 10 collaboration for 20-year-old art majors who get high before class basically every day and somehow think that the cafeteria food at their college is good due to the fact that they are in perma munchie mode. Like, this is the collaboration for those types of people. I can imagine if this is exciting to you and is something that you are personally happy to see, it's time to kick the cup. And by cup, I mean joint, weed pen, whatever you digest it with, it's time to let it go. I don't know. Like, the only way this is cool is if you're high on something.
Yeah.
Which I assume most people are, to be honest, so.
I'm the same kid.
Okay, except for Zins. Let's not bash those.
Nobody's told
That's the one thing about Hasan I do respect.
Yummy, I love Sabra hummus.
Wake up, Ethan.
Ethan.
What? It's like actually his mic cover.
Wake up.
He's got some of Anissa's pussy juice on there.
Wake up, Ethan.
Thanks, iDubbbz. He's just, yeah, sure. Hasan's gonna contract some shit that this guy forgot he had. Yo, Ian, you got your test results with you? You love drugs? Okay, Zin and weed, that's like comparing Adolf Hitler to Ben Shapiro. That's just not, I mean, you know. They're both kind of bad. One of them's a lot worse. How does he have that?
All right. I didn't plan on making a content cop on H3. It sounds very stupid even saying that. H3 content cop, iDubbbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hasan Piker. Content cop on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's gotta be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot, it's Ethan. He's the one who
I mean, two things can be true at once, right? Like, you know, two stocks can go down at the same time if people are selling. I don't think that Ethan Klein's decline has anything to do with your decline. Maybe they're the same in the fact that they happen within a similar time frame. And that's even suggesting that Ethan Klein has fallen off to the same extent that this guy has, which I don't even think is true. I think numbers-wise, he's still killing it. He gets 34,000 concurrent viewers on his streams, and that's not to glaze him. I don't watch him. I just think numbers speak for themselves. And when your job is basically to be an attention attractor, which is just like a content creator, influencer, you're just an eyeball magnet. That's your goal. Your goal is to fetch souls and collect eyeballs for people. You know, if the way to measure how good at that you are is with, you know, numbers, then he's doing better. And, you know, whatever. But obviously that doesn't, you know, relate to anyone's like character or how good of a person they are and how much of the plot they've lost. But at the same time, I think iDubbbz necessarily is viewed as have fallen off harder than Ethan Klein. And so whenever he says like, oh, you know, I would have thought I lost the plot, a lot of people do think you lost the plot. And I think what people think matters more than what you think, as you are an attention attractor. So
fucking attacked first.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
So go fuck yourself.
I
Wait.
fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
So go.
Oh my god. My fucking stupid ass. My hungry ass thought this was chicken. Nah, my hungry ass thought this was just 9/11, bro. I thought he was wearing a 9/11 shirt. That's not a fire explosion. That's a tree and a sunset. Dude, the theme of this video has my brain all fucked up. I'm thinking everything is like bombs and explosions because we're talking about Israel-Palestine so much. I'm like, is this just a bomb? Is this in the background like a walkie-talkie frequency for the IDF?
Fuck yourself.
My brain is so scrambled.
All right, guys, I'm going to tell you a story about Ethan Klein. I know some of you have been following him, but there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with the background, with his podcast, with what's been going on over the past couple of years. So Ethan, as you know, is a content creator who has a podcast where he says all sorts of outrageous stuff. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's fucked up. He's had shows with all sorts of different controversial characters. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had a show with Hasan Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton
and you've had a show with him. So, what does that make you?
Of different audiences. Now, in his
I mean, I'm joking. At the same time, it's interesting to, I don't know, I think phrasing it even in this way is interesting because if we're to talk about people's history and we're talking about what they do and like,
who has a podcast where he says all sorts of outrageous stuff.
And you were on the H3 podcast saying more outrageous stuff than him. I literally got on my YouTube recommended like a few months ago, and I remembered it because I screenshotted it and sent it to the group chat on Discord, and I was like, what the fuck? And it was like iDubbbz NF compilation, and you guys all know what NF stands for. And most of the NF bombs were from this one podcast he did with Ethan Klein. He did this in his Sam Hyde video, which I thought was so interesting. He reframes history in a way that is very interesting, and it makes it seem like his hands are clean, and I don't like it. I think it's interesting. Like, in the beginning of his Sam Hyde video, when he was explaining who Sam Hyde was, he did it in a way that made it seem like he's never made an edgy joke, which I thought was ridiculous. And like, totally lacking self-awareness.
Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's fucked up. He's had shows with all sorts of different controversial characters. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had a show with Hasan Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now, in his podcast with Hasan, Leftovers,
and they share that same thing in common. Like, iDubbbz has gathered a bunch of different audiences over the years, right? I mean, he's done things that are also fun and fucked up. It's crazy how he summarizes Ethan in a way where 80% of the things that he characterizes his career with are also things that you could characterize his career with, you know?
They would mostly talk about surface level, progressive shit and make fun of
It's kind of like, you know, the calls coming from inside the house.
Wingers.
And you're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers. You trans women. I say, oh no!
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say that Hasan was very well equipped to talk about that topic.
Palestinian people living in the West Bank are subject to these horrific conditions, horrific living conditions by the state of Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Well, the dance he invented was so kick-ass.
Okay, so is the argument here that on the same day, one of them was watching a dance video and one of them was talking about Israel-Palestine, and so therefore Hasan must be more equipped to talk about this subject? That's like saying, like, look at this person who's 40 years old, and then the person who's currently a baby, and then fast forward to when the baby is an adult, and then when the adult is like an elder, and then saying like, oh, when the elder was an adult and the adult was a baby, the adult knew more than the baby. Okay. Wasn't Ethan less political then? Hasan's always been political.
Israeli settlers are trying to evict Palestinian families in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations says that may be a war crime. It literally is.
I was just eating the toppings, and the pizza looked like a burn victim. It was all disgusting.
I mean, this is literally clip chimping, right? I mean, this is literally just lazy clip chimping. Where we're finding clips of people talking about non-Israel-Palestine stuff and then being like, here's the proof. I saw he dropped and clicked it in 1 minute. I saw Hasan rolled my eyes and closed the vid. This is a Hasan defense vid.
I don't know if you can make that joke in 2020.
Oh, he's talking to Trisha Paytas. This is, you know, one clip from 10-hour-long streams, or not 10-hour-long streams, but, you know, multi-hour-long programs that he Ethan does, where I'm sure more than just this happens. And also, Hasan on the flip side has very long streams where he does more than just talk about politics. He plays video games, he reacts to videos that are not political. And so, I mean, you can play this game. Like, this is just a game, and he's playing it in a way that is made to give Hasan a more professional look, when in reality, like, you know, maybe Hasan is a more politically inclined person. I don't necessarily think the way that you're showing this with the clip chimping is super good faith, but
21.
Why?
He's insensitive to burn victims.
I think that's a good analogy. It's a powerful image.
Ethan was not prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more of the goof guy. And that's fine, you know, we don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic. Ethan was obviously caught in this tricky situation where he is extremely sympathetic to the Israeli cause and what's happening to them. His wife's Israeli, she served in the IDF. He obviously likes the state of Israel. On the other hand, he's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hasan. Hasan is strictly a political streamer, so this is something they're very keyed into. So when they see Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're gonna call it out.
From the river to the sea essentially means the state of Israel is going bye-bye.
So this massive progressive audience that Ethan has, you know, adopted over the years, they're becoming increasingly critical of his position because now he's talking about it not on Leftovers, he's now talking about it on his podcast.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that. When you listen to Hasan and you hear all these fucking mega lefties talking about it like it's some super racist, like crazy, you know, like Jim Crow style.
Political savvy and Hasan in the same sentence is the most hilarious thing Ian has said in years. It's definitely up there. I don't think Hasan is politically savvy. I think he's sort of a headline regurgitator and a reactionary. So if that's what you mean when you say savvy, then he's the savviest fucking chip in the chip bag. But when it comes to this situation, like him and Ethan Klein, I think he has a very radicalized audience. And when there is an attempt to find nuance on certain topics, that can be seen as disagreement when I don't think it is. Like, I think specifically when you look at people who are like, let's just say I'm looking for someone to teach me about a certain topic that I'm not too informed on, and this person has an audience of like extremely radicalized people that are ultra following this. They're stalking it, basically, this situation, right? And I'm here trying to learn about it, and maybe I have some inclinations just on a basic political level that are gonna lead me to believe certain things, right? And I'm trying to learn this thing from this person, and so any question that I may ask, any rebuttal that I may give, any slight disagreement that we might get into over certain things will be seen as a ultimate betrayal of what this person's audience believes, because they are so deeply radicalized. And so when iDubbbz says that Ethan's more of a goofy guy and Hasan is strictly political, that matters in the sense that Hasan's audience is going to show no mercy to Ethan. They're literally going to be ruthless to him because they are radical. And that's not something that is healthy. It's really not, for so many reasons.
I love society. Like, I can't wait to show you guys.
The other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with his liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hasan, all of these different people. He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb. Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits. And everybody thinks this guy's awesome, apparently. Even though he looks like Millhouse. Fucking dork.
Denims, by the way, was the real villain of the video. Evil, hateful fucking... And I'll say it and I'll double down on it. And people... Oh, no?
No,
did I not go
don't.
there?
And it's all culminated, at least for my story, in Ethan burning bridges with people until he burned the bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hasan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace. And
I don't like that. I really do not like the concern trolling, where you're basically suggesting that because somebody had a disagreement or debate, hate, whatever, Twitter spat, bridge burning, that they are somehow in need of literal medical help. I get it as a slight jab, like, yeah, you need to go to fucking therapy, or, you know, you need a lobotomy. I understand a jab like that because, you know, I was in middle school and and, you know, I get how insults work, but this is not like an insult. This is an insult disguised as a concern, as a suggestion coming from a good place in this guy's heart, which I just don't like. I think that it's weird and two-faced, very slimy to be like, oh yeah, I hope he gets help. Get well soon, fucko. It's like, all right, so, like, I mean, dude,
creators, maybe
it's just, it's so condescending, and like, I get being condescending, but it's done so in a way that is meant to make it seem like it's not condescending.
These things, eventually he'll find peace and
like, listen,
creators. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe.
Like, what the fuck does that mean, dude?
If he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship. So that's been my approach. I've occasionally thrown a joke Ethan's way in the form of Hasan Piker versus Ethan Klein for boxing.
I like iDubbbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this tweet. Stupid. It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. And also...
Okay, well, you see, this is like a stupid reaction from Ethan Klein, right? Like, if iDubbbz wants to make a troll tweet that doesn't really say anything about either party and how they are behaving and what his take is on which side is winning and who's more correct, like, I don't think that's warranting of a scolding.
So he's way out of my weight class.
Like, this is just bitching, right? This is classic bitching.
I like iDubbbz. He's a good guy, but
I like him, but this is too far. What's too far? That he pretended you and someone you don't like would have a boxing match?
I don't like this tweet.
Maybe you should have a boxing match. I don't fucking know. You guys don't like each other, and it's led to a content cop, and maybe you should fight each other. Like,
it's stupid.
Because the thing is, like, Ethan Klein is suing people, and I think if you're gonna sue someone, you probably are down to also fight someone, you know?
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like,
I mean,
like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. And also he's way out of my weight class.
Oh, okay. Well,
didn't like that, but fucking sometimes you gotta just throw something out there. I used to work with this video editor named Froggy Tonic. I discovered him because he was in the circles online that I was in. And one of those circles is an H3 fan. He watched Ethan's content, he liked Ethan's content, until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional Froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, you know? Like,
Ethan, do you really think putting yourself, your crew, and your audience in a semantic competition over a petty-year-old I'm right, you're wrong obsession cannot get over? Is this the right strategy? Stop tormenting yourself, listen to Hasan? What is this even about?
I'm not gonna endorse it, I'm not gonna retweet it or like it, but fair enough.
I guess I just missed my old friend. Some wings are too bird feathered colored.
Now that brings us to February 28th of this year. Now my former editor of a year and a half ago did say some truly mean shit. He called Hila the C word, he said they're trying to kill their dog with cheddar cheese, and a bunch of other shit, I'm sure.
Right.
Ethan at some point discovers that iDubbbz former...
Wait, hold on a second.
I'm sure. Ethan at some point discovers...
Dude, that's my thumbnail. That's literally my thumbnail. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's my thumbnail, dude. Ethan Klein is beyond cringe 2 years ago. And it's Ethan Klein with the motion blur in the background. And so I guess okay, I see you, iDubbbz.
That iDubbbz former editor says this horrendous shit about him and Hila. But no one's asking the question, where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously
The thing is, what a plot twist, right? Because if this is about his former editor hating Ethan Klein, and his former editor really hates Ethan Klein, so I guess, I mean, I assume it's like he's done. He doesn't work for him at all, but I would like to think that, like, this guy hates Ethan Klein so much that he helped out with this video, and in the back of his little catalog of images of Ethan Klein that are not so flattering was my thumbnail, and then he sauced it here, but maybe iDubbbz just found it himself. And there's my camera. There's my camera. I didn't even hit the fucking desk that hard, and there's my camera. You can see my Berserk poster and Resident Evil 4 poster, but let me fix that. That's not good. Dude, I need a new camera. Like, I need like an actual camera. This fucking webcam isn't gonna cut it in Big 25. It just isn't. The shit keeps fucking falling down. It is so fucking, like, scuffed, bro. Like, I'm literally rich as shit, and I can't get a working camera. Disgusting. I will literally spend my money on anything but work-related shit. I'm so fucking stupid. I guess food counts as work-related shit, because, you know, calories are energy. Energy is content, but motherfucker. I can't even get it to fucking balance, bro. Does someone want to donate to give me a new camera? Shit's so I can't be doing this, bro. My sub count is too high to have these kind of technical difficulties. We're gonna lose viewers by the second if I can't get this sorted. I'm clapped, bro. I'm chopped chin. Can I get a chopped cheese the Aki way? Come as you are. Why'd you get the worst one? Well, I've had this for 7 years, so, and it's never really failed me. It's good. It's a good camera. It just like falls, and it's like, the only problem is like now my background just looks like heaven, so, which, you know, I guess that's nice in a evangelical Christian way, but from like a viewer's eyeballs way, it's not the best looking. All right, it literally will not fucking stay put. All right, that's good enough, whatever.
Question, where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously a problem if Ethan was discovering this content by scrolling through Twitter looking for something to upset himself with. He has maybe set it up in such a way where his employees feel the need to send him this information, and that would be horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be sending you things that are entertaining for your show that don't fucking trigger the hell out of you. Why is there so much work being put into discovering this guy on Twitter who's barely getting any interactions, linking him to me and posting on the Reddit, when there's no work being put into who the fuck is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first place? If you do a little bit of research, it seems like it's...
I mean, it's probably because of what he said, right? Like, if it causes Ethan to crash out, then it seems like that is what gets clipped and that's what makes content. And so whoever on the team is putting this in front of him is probably like well aware of that, unless I'm missing something, right?
It's an account whose intention is to make Ethan crash out. One of the users on the Snark Reddit points this out. They're like, I've seen this account before. This account has scraped its history, and it's now trying to make Ethan burn bridges. This is within Ethan's own community. Like, this is the thing that he needs to be critical of. Right. It's not me. So yes, I am willing to admit that my former editor was being very nasty, uncharitable, and fucked up.
I just don't understand why this is even part of the video. Why does this really matter? Like, Ethan was crashing out and I guess brewed up some hostility because he linked the person who caused him to crash out to you because he worked for you. I feel like I suppose it builds a little bit of a backstory, but this just feels like it should be left out. Maybe like a 20-second bit of context, but this is like a 2-minute long synopsis.
Towards Ethan and Hila on Twitter. But Ethan and Hila are doing the same shit on their podcast. So I don't want to fucking hear it.
Terrorist supporter.
The CEO of Twitch.
Pedophile.
Now I'm going to watch and respond to the 2 podcast streams where Ethan and Hila call us spineless cowards.
All right. Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like, she's like a IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on us Nisa's and iDubbbz feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
Well, I don't think Ian really speaks up about this kind of stuff. Like,
he's fucking feed. Baby killer, all that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like, she's...
Hold on.
Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like, she's a...
So this is his former editor who's saying
like
all this stuff.
IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on us Nisa's and iDubbbz feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
You don't...
So he's basically complaining that iDubbbz's former editor had content on his feed that he is seeing and is not actively rebuting, and that's I don't know, man. That just seems like you're assigning a level of active malice from iDubbbz that we just don't know if it exists. Like, do we know if iDubbbz is scrolling through Twitter and is seeing tweets from his former editor that say Ethan Klein and his wife are like molesting children and are lighting babies on fire, and then he's like silently agreeing with it, and that's why he's not speaking up against it? I don't know. I don't know if that's really how it works. Is he even very active on social media? And when he says like speak out against it, like what does that look like? Like a tweet? Is that a podcast? Is that a video? Like what is that? Maybe a personal DM? I guess that's something. If he personally DM'd him and said, "Hey, I've seen all this stuff. Just want to say disagree. Hope you're okay." I don't really know.
I don't know what's on my feed. What the
Yeah, this is interesting.
fuck is happening? For all you know,
I mean, that is just a clip, so maybe with context it's different, but I will say the way that it's being shown, it doesn't make any sense.
use the For You tab. For all you know,
Maybe guilt by association because in Hasan's community they went hard after Ethan, and so by juxtaposition is he's blaming Ian.
I only use lists. For all you know, I'm seeing these things tweeted out by my editor of a year and a half ago and saying, God, that is nasty. I'm just not going to throw someone away because they're having a parasocial weird moment. Just like I'm not going to throw Ethan Klein away because he's having a parasocial weird crash out.
How many women I fucked? Hasan, by the way, thousands. Yeah, thousands. Let me ask Galia. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Hasan's the type of dude who watches himself in the mirror when he has sex.
Watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, how does he know I'm watching already?
Because you've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
There are many people, I'm sure.
How far are we in? About 12 minutes.
Who have unfollowed you for the things that you've said and done. And I'm sure there are even more people who have stayed following you because they don't.
In the context of the stream, it was much more that Ian was not publicly denouncing, like the CPS call. Right. I think specifically, got it. So when that stream clip plays of Ethan, bro, Ian, it all sounds the same. Okay, so in the clip that Ian put earlier of Ethan complaining about iDubbbz not disavowing stuff, it was not just about the Twitter former editor, it was also about CPS calls and stuff. Is that what you're saying? That makes sense. I would say if it gets to that level, I would understand the frustration and emotional reaction from Ethan there. I still don't know why if it's all that other stuff, he's thinking about Ian then, right? Because, that just seems oddly specific if it's not about the editor, right? So I don't know.
Want to...
Duh, of course, Ian lies and moves the goalpost. I think it's still... Because in the clip he put, right, he's talking about my good friend Ian is not disavowing the stuff, and people are in my chat are saying that he's not disavowing the CPS stuff, but if he's talking about Ian, then it would be about the stuff that the editor is saying, which is like, I don't know.
Throw the baby...
Which is probably less serious than like getting the CPS called on him.
Out with the bathwater. They don't want to throw someone away because they've had some hard moments. We're all fucking human.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend.
Massive day for the unemployed. Yeah, this is a very huge day for those who are receiving emails from careers.mcdonalds.com with the header update. And then the first line is, hey, after a thorough review, we've continued to not employ you at this time, and we wish you luck. Burger King down the street, by the way.
Piece of shit. I'm spineless. I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people harassing me and everyone in my life. People outside of this group, journalists, creators, are actively participating in this gaslighting to make it seem like I'm fucking crazy.
I mean, I don't know what he's getting at here. Like, yeah, people are gaslighting you. A lot of people gaslit me when I apologized. That was actually like the #1 type of harassment I got, was people gaslighting me and taking my newfound woke ideology to its extreme.
Okay, thank you so much. Quotation points in chat. I just looked at the clip. It was in response to the Maximum Damage clip, which is iDubbbz podcast, where they discussed the CPS incident and told him just ignore the hate. Gotcha. Okay, so it is kind of omitting context, and I don't think that's cool, because with the full context, it does seem like Ian is just kind of saying ignore it, but it's like you can't ignore CPS coming to your door. That's not really something that you can just brush off. So I can understand why he's upset. Surely that makes sense. The video has given me a bit more respect for Ian, but I don't know how to feel with the necessity of the video. The final message is pretty nice though. You'll see it at the end. All right.
Probably done and stood by iDubbbz and Anissa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them.
I don't like that Ethan brought this up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine.
I don't know how I feel about that. Hold on.
Because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
I don't know about that. I just think that when you're friends with someone, I generally, one of my biggest principles and like personal values is loyalty. I find that when I have a friendship with someone, I treat it very seriously. I think loyalty matters a lot. I think going behind someone's back is something that's just fucked up and snakish. And I've thought about getting a tattoo. I don't know if I'll ever get a tattoo, but I've thought about if I did get one, what it would be. And it would probably be like a snake with its head cut off, because deep down to my core, I think that if you truly value someone, you know, as a friend, you know, you have to have their back. You know, that's just what matters. I don't know if it's transactional. I think it's like, if you have my back, I'll have yours, which isn't, you know, I don't know if that's transactional. I just think that's loyalty. But never mind that. Like, if you're not really that friends and more acquaintances, then I understand. And obviously, it depends, like, you know, if someone's a pedophile, you're not going to have their back or something like that. You're going to throw them under the bus. It makes sense. But I don't know. I don't know about that whole
support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
I find that when Ethan says disavow CPS, it's not really supporting someone despite your morals and principles. I think that, I don't know, if I'm just to be completely charitable from Ethan's position, if you're having child protective services called on you, it doesn't seem like that's a really, you know, something that would be hard for someone that, you know, you'd any level of friendship with to say, hey, that's fucked up, right?
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. And certainly I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing. Like, I don't need any fucking halfway friends, man.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation.
Is that what he said? So the person in my chat said they watched the clip and that it was basically them saying to ignore it or something. Let me go see if I can find the clip for myself so I can cross-reference this, because it doesn't seem like he's gonna play it. He's just gonna, like, talk about it. So let's just see, because I want to make sure fully in the know. Let's take a peek. Maximum damage. Does anyone have the I can't find the clip. I'm not going to be able to find it. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like, she's like an IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on Anissa's and iDubbbz feed. My good fucking
I can't find that. I can just find the clip of him reacting to it, so.
But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. As much as you don't want halfway friends, I also don't want that kind of halfway friend. I don't want someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
Could you not say something when this is like, imagine like one of you guys is like, Hasan actually wants to go to Israel, go to Gaza so he can strangle Israeli babies or some shit like that. I'd be like, you imagine me not saying something.
You're trying to make a one-to-one comparison where there isn't one. This guy that I follow on Twitter is not in the same relationship as you and one of your current employees who is streaming with you 3 days a week, 3 hours a day for the past...
Well, I mean, like, fucking obviously, right? Like, this... Dude, this is obviously not a one-to-one comparison. Like, you're not one of H3's employees. I don't think that's what's even being said. I think it just has to do with, like, he thinks something serious has happened. And, you know, he wants someone who's in somewhat close proximity to all the madness, which is you, iDubbbz, to say something against it. Obviously, it's not the same as one of his employees being threatened, so I don't think that's what was, you know, what was trying to be conveyed, but either
Strangle
way.
Israeli babies. Or some shit like that. I'd be like, imagine not saying
this is just such a fucking nothing burger. Like, this specific point is like This is like very like that one-to-one isn't a one-to-one. Like
10 years? At one point during this stream, Ethan and Hila bring up Adam McIntyre. Now, Adam does basically the same thing as my former editor. He's critical of Ethan and Hila, and he is sometimes uncharitable and nasty towards them.
You'll be acting like Pat God is cringe, but you'll be quivering when you're in a Discord call with him. Can we mod this guy? That was the fucking funniest message I've read all stream.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear. That guy is a piece of shit, like of the lowest order. I never even stood by him when he talked bad about Trisha having a kid and called him like the spawn of Satan. He was supposedly on our side. I would never even co-sign that. I was disgusted by that statement too. I remember when he called her kid the spawn of Satan.
I never said anything.
And
like
I was
that.
supposed to be like cheering on, but I wasn't going to cheer that on. That's disgusting.
Why do we forget that he called her children, which is something we would never do, the spawn of Satan?
It's disgusting.
And
a
I
piece
mean,
of shit of a human.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really.
Okay, all right. iDubbbz after rebrand content cop is bad and caused harassment. iDubbbz now. Ethan needs to stop crashing out at my friends for harassing him. Now I have to make a content cop on him. I mean, it's just flimsy when you're gonna say I'm never gonna do something again, and it was like kind of a big part of your career, and like eventually you might want to have it in the back pocket for a time like this, you know, for a rainy day. You know, like in case of emergencies, I have a one-time content cop pass, which he didn't give himself, and he just kind of went for it. But you know, whatever. That's neither here nor there. I'm trying to understand like the actual substance of this now. The first point I understand. You can argue because my editor's tweeting something, do I have to disavow it, right? But then, you know, if iDubbbz was being asked to disavow the CPS stuff, then I think that's a little different. But, you know, let's get to some more meat and potatoes here.
Unfortunately, they never made a statement. They never said that they disagree with his statements about Trisha's baby until it's...
Jordan Peterson was right about Ethan getting betrayed by the left. Well, I think, he was right, but kind of by accident. Like, I don't think Jordan Peterson knew that Ethan would whore himself out to the Hasan audience, which by him doing that, absolutely, he vindicated Jordan Peterson. But I don't think from when Jordan Peterson tweeted that, he could have known for sure. But hey, you know, when you're right, you're right.
Like, what is it, 3 years later? Like, I mean, you're talking about it like you were aware of it at the time and that there was some amount of pressure or enthusiasm for you to get down with that. And what it sounds like to me is that you did see it at the time and you were like, ooh, I don't like that. And you didn't endorse it and you didn't fuck with it. Huh. It's almost like that is a fucking identical situation to me.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really something.
So yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up...
For context, Colleen Ballinger had him, Adam, work for her when he was a minor. Her friends would make fun of him or something. Can't exactly remember what. And she'd joke about sending him underwear. What?
Is because they're trying to like paint themselves as the good guys. And they're saying like...
What we're looking at right now is Adam McIntyre tweeting about, I think, Trisha Paytas' kid.
Yeah, we strongly disavow things that are said, even about our enemies. We are the most immoral people on the internet. Unlike Ian and Anissa, who are fucking keeping to themselves. Also, why the fuck does Olivia get the pass?
What a fucking asshole for putting you in that position, Olivia. You're friends with him. And you don't have to say anything, but like, what a fucking piece of shit. What a bad friend to put you in that position just for some fucking clout. It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit, okay? Olivia did not do anything. And
I want the pass. Do I have to be an employee to get that treatment? Because then you'll just see me as an ally?
I mean, the thing is, like, yes. Like, yeah, there's, like, proximity bias, like, 100%. You know what I mean? Like, literally, yes. I feel like that's so obvious. Like, if his employee is going to be given, like, benefit of the doubt in terms of, like, assigning a level of intent, that's because this person shows up every day and is physically close to Ethan Klein. And so nonverbal cues like body language and unspoken signals are going to be picked up, and you can actually like ascertain a level of intent where, like, obviously if someone is not close to you every single day and is far away and is silent and, you know, you can't really read the room, yeah, like the benefit of the doubt that you can extend to that person is going to be like astronomically less than the person who's 5 feet away from you. Like, that's, I mean, yeah.
Or is it because Ethan is afraid of wrongful termination accusations and lawsuits.
And also, I don't mind
probably not. like probably not. I would assume that it's not that at all. First of all, he'd win the lawsuit, I would think. Doesn't he have like a ridiculously cracked out legal team? Like, obviously. Second of all, I think it's because of what I just said. Like, I think there's a different relationship there.
Putting my friend Olivia, who's apparently my real friend, in a terribly weird, fucking uncomfortable situation where you end up getting hate for no reason.
Also, don't frame it as like other people making it hard on Olivia. You're making it hard on all of these people. Please acknowledge your role in this whole fucking thing. Like, it's crazy how warm Ethan is to Olivia and saying how Olivia is essentially just a victim in this whole thing.
It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit.
But me and Anissa are spineless. Ethan, your whole system is scrambled. My intention isn't to throw the employees under the bus. Like, you guys serve as the fucking...
Well, I don't know if it's scrambled. Like, I don't know. I maybe it is, and I just don't see it that way. And maybe I'm just not getting it. But from what I've seen, like, the way that iDubbbz tries to parallel himself to this other person and then, like, try to highlight a double standard, I just kind of, like, think that the double standard, like, actually makes sense. Like, I think a double standard in a lot of cases, you know, it exists for a reason, and you can understand why it exists. Like, if someone is 5 foot tall and has a baby face and walks into a bar, like, after a guy who's 6'6" with a beard walks into a bar, the guy who's 6'6" with a beard doesn't get ID'd, but the 5 foot guy with the baby face does get ID'd. Like, I don't know. I kind of understand why there is a double standard, even if they're the same age. Like, I think that it actually makes a lot of sense. I think that's how human psychology works. I think when people have different expectations for different people, and there's a reason for it, like, the separate expectation makes sense. I feel like it's pretty simple. It isn't a double standard. He's trying hard to make it. He's trying hard to make it out to be. I think that something can be a double standard and also be, like, reasonable. Like, you can have a reasonable double standard, right? I think that's something that people tend to overlook.
For calling out Ethan's hypocrisy on the whole subject. And I know that you guys have probably pushed back against Ethan over the years. How often are you supposed to do that? Do you have to do that every fucking week? It kind of seems like it. And that's exhausting. I don't want to confront my boss. It's not my fucking job to confront my boss and say, today's segment on rapists and pedophiles on Twitch was not my favorite segment to be a part of.
Yeah, friends like these.
Oh, yeah. And our other good friends.
Yeah.
Anissa and Ian. Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times, because, like, why would I not? It was crazy.
Yeah, why would you not? I mean, if that's truly what you believed and you weren't just going to use it later.
Of course I was going to stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me.
I'm not going to assume that Hila knows, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone...
Fuck! Fuck! Now my fucking camera falls! Brother, tape that shit down or something? Bro, I don't have fucking tape. I don't carry tape around. I'm not the mouth breather guy who wakes up and puts cold water on his face.
Anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese... of oppression and attacks from the IDF. So Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now, out of all the times, to be like, please defend me. No, we're not.
IDF, more like IDFC. I don't fucking care. Sorry, it was a Sam Hyde YouTube short I saw.
I'm gonna fucking defend you.
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
Do we have that one?
I mean, like, just the other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
He looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No, it's not.
So yes, you caught us. We're not gonna run to your defense.
No, she's even a proper Muslim.
I don't know, we follow
I don't think
people?
that's a good that's just not a good argument. Like, saying that someone is not going to be properly informed on something that they're ethnically tied to because they don't follow the specific religion in a way that you deem to be proper. Like, that's just so arbitrary.
We be following. That's one fuck.
Speaking of Sam Hyde, actually, I mean, this is interesting, right? That this is all... The real winner here has been declared. It's the Candyman.
fucked up thing that you can say about Anissa and I is when we're on Twitter, we do be following.
So,
The problem.
okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denims.
I know. Yeah,
Which I'll
she's
show.
friends with
Denims
Denim.
is actually participating in this whole child protective service lie.
Yeah,
Which I'll
and if
show
you're
you guys.
friends with them, then you're seeing what they're saying.
The Candyman cometh. Yeah.
Notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denims character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, where we are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people.
I think it's a little crazy. I mean, not that this is how friendships work, but I guess as an outsider, and I don't know the relationship, but I can just, this is the way that I view things from a pretty primal human level. When Denims has been a like C-tier, L-tier streamer with like 100 to 200 concurrent viewers, like the same amount that I have, but over on Twitch, for like what, 3 years, and you've known Ethan for like over a decade, people look at that and then they see you drawing an equivalence and then they are like, what? They're like, huh? Really? And it doesn't, it just seems weird. That's all I'm gonna say.
Kind of a tricky situation. How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core?
Do you guys think this will help with my nose? If I smell this candle? What is this candle here? Jasmine candle. It's got essential oils in it. Hopefully that juices me up.
People can have crash out moments. People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know. I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention. Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me than the other.
I just don't see how you can be my friend and also be friends with someone like that.
Well, you can't. So I already forgot about you.
I actually have a lot of friendships that are kind of that way, where it's like, you know, one of the friends doesn't fuck with the other friend, but there is someone in the middle who kind of...
Yeah, I mean, that's funny. I do think it's a bit different. I don't know if it's the case that Andrew Tate is calling CPS on Ethan Klein. Like, I just don't know if that's necessarily a one-to-one. But, you know, it's funny.
fucks with both of them, but separately. Yeah, there's a lot of friendships that are like that. I'm not gonna make you guys...
Are there, though? Are there a lot of friendships where there's one guy who's the middle ground neutral friend between friend A, who is like actively trying to get friend B's kids taken away from them? Is that like is that a lot? What do you say?
But separately? Yeah, there's a lot of friendships that are like that.
There aren't, though. I mean, there just aren't.
I'm not gonna make you guys...
I mean, you can have arguments and stuff. It's just not... It's not a lot of friendships where the moderator is in between a guy who is having the other friend threaten his livelihood. I don't know if that's necessarily a lot, but...
It's like meet up and kiss.
Hey, thanks for the $2, my boy.
Or anything. I get it, you guys...
Andrew Tate calling CPS is something I never hear. I mean, well, of course.
Are in fucking... You're either my best friend who's deep-throating me to the base...
The CPS really changes it. It's H3 not asking iDubbbz to have an opinion on Israel just to back him up as a good dad. I could definitely see where you're coming from there. I do think that there's a certain level of frustration that you reach when you feel like someone's not siding with you because they think that they may come across as supporting something like political, when in reality you're just asking for support on a more basic level. Like, I can see why you would be frustrated by that. Like, that does seem like something that is like a basic ask for sure.
Of my cock, or
what?
My best friend who's deep-throating me to the base of my cock.
Okay.
Or you are Satan. You're the devil.
Satan.
The last thing I said to Anissa, we were texting before I ever talked about it. She's like, I don't care about this guy. He's a nobody, and you know, blah blah blah. And I said, well, then you'll have no problem publicly denouncing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, the conversation ended.
She never replied.
Ethan, you can't even phrase it in a way that doesn't make you sound like you're being coercive and shitty. well then, you should have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? Does that sound like a friend?
I mean, it does sound
It kind of sounds like
bad.
something a powerful villain would say.
It does.
But it was so funny how she immediately went to
That's how it
comment
does
everywhere,
sound.
like on our subreddit. She
He's
immediately
right
had to
about
comment
how
like,
it
"Oh, he doesn't
sounds.
work with us anymore."
Then
But that was it. That's all she
then say-
said.
But then say that you don't.
Okay. Do you have
agree.
anything else to say for your friends, though?
One of the reasons Anissa was so quick to clarify things in your Reddit is because your Reddit was already talking about who this editor is, and they were spreading misinformation that it was our co-host on our podcast, Uncle Dane. So yeah, the last thing we wanted is this guy getting pulled into this mess, and you guys don't give a fuck. Would it have been nicer and more supportive to say, we don't agree with the things he's saying and we support Ethan and Hila? Sure. Like, yeah, that would have been a nicer thing to say.
I think that is another thing when you step your, or when you throw your hat into this sort of ring, I think you are subjecting yourself to taking bullets for the person that you threw your hat in the ring for. And that's not something that everybody who especially has a lot of hate already like iDubbbz wants to do. I don't necessarily think that it would be on the top of his list to take bullets for Ethan Klein in Big 25. I can understand that. I also do think that Ethan Klein was at a point where a message from iDubbbz saying something that was nice probably wouldn't have been enough. I just get the vibe from how emotional he is about this that he wanted a lot, and we have to, you know, understand that these two were just not in the fucking same place at all when it came to addressing this. So
our silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship until you figure your shit out. And then maybe we can find a moment in time, I don't know how long it'll be, but a moment in time in the future where things are a little bit easier to broach. I don't think we need to do it right now. But you've insisted that this is an important thing to address. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me on your Instagram story. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast twice.
iDubbbz leaving friendships over politics is a common theme.
I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week because I prefer to not do harassment campaigns and instead talk about Vampire's Kiss.
Like they say something like he doesn't work for me, and I strongly disagree, and I support Ethan and Hila. The problem is
that she doesn't.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
She actually
thinks they have a point.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So go fuck it.
It is crazy. Like, I will say from a content side of things,
harassment.
I am a little bit surprised to see that this is what the H3 podcast is.
Campaigns and
I didn't. It's an interesting arc for sure. This drama arc.
Instead, talk about.
I thought that he talked about like more docile stuff like TikTok reactions and shit. I didn't know that this is what he was doing, to be honest. So that does kind of change my perspective a little bit. I think that maybe there is certainly an incentive from Ethan to fawn outrage at certain people that are famous in order to keep the show running. But I don't think that's all of it. But it is interesting. I didn't know that was that much of his content. I mean, we're looking at
on your podcast twice. I would be fine with
and that's certainly, and it's not everything. He definitely didn't show it all, right? Like there's definitely more episodes.
My comment section on my podcast.
Like, let's take a look. This is low-key buns. I mean, let's take a look.
Harassment.
That's one. It's 3 hours 20 minutes. 3 hours 13 minutes.
Instead, talk about
how long is this?
About Vampire's Kiss.
Well, either way, let's assume that it's like over 10 hours of content. Like, you know, you don't get that without things getting worse, right? And so maybe if things aren't getting worse, you try to make them worse. I don't know. But then you have to ask the question, why would Ethan want to make it worse if it's affecting his kids? And then it's like, okay, that's a pretty good counter argument.
Like they say something like he doesn't work for me, and I strongly disagree, and I support Ethan and Hila. The problem is
he sponsored by GamerSupps? Sorry, I just now noticed this. This is literally the this is GamerSupps breast cup. This is the busty anime girl cups that they do. I didn't know that. He's got a lot of sponsors. He definitely is making a lot of bread. Now, I'll tell you that. Ethan Klein, for the amount of views that those 3-hour videos are getting, is fucking printing. So good for him.
And I strongly disagree, and
not to pocket watch too much, but it's hard not to when I think about CPS, I'm thinking about the CPS showing up to the $10 million estate that this guy owns. Fuck. Do I just have to do 3-hour streams and shit? Is that the goal of the bag? I don't know. It would be so much nicer to just do like a 5-minute crypto rug pull. Just like ruin all your guys' lives and then leave. I should do that. I should just ruin everyone in this chat's life for money. I'll think about that. I'll meditate on that. Just joking, okay, guys?
Support Ethan and Hila. The problem is
that she doesn't.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
She actually.
She thinks they have a point.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Go fuck yourself. What about your girl? This is what I'm talking about. This aggression that you're putting out into the world. What the fuck do you think we're gonna do? You think I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands when you do this shit? Like, this is nasty. We had such a fair response to what you guys were going through. We don't support harassment. It's a bad thing, but it happens and you're perpetuating it.
You fucking propagandist, lying scumbag, terrorist supporter. He probably sets up a mirror and jerks off watching himself. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite.
You can't expect other people to stop harassing you if you continue to harass people. Let's think about it on a micro level. Have you ever been in a... You can't expect other people to stop harassing you if you continue to harass people. Let's
think about this one logically, right? I think that this usually is when it's sort of like an eye for an eye and you keep upping the ante every single time, right? And so, I mean, the ideal, I think the problem is like best case scenario, if Ethan were to handle this in a way that would be, what's the word I'm looking for? De-escalating. I think it's just you ignore all this stuff. But yet again, it's content, so I don't know. Yup, no maturity to walk away or show de-escalation. Because really the ball is always going to be in Ethan's court. Like, he is the one who decides what to do. He has to be the one to say, I'm not going to engage. And it is a burden to bear. It sucks. It sucks hearing people talk shit about you and you know that they're wrong or they're saying shit that fucking bothers you and you want so bad to use your platform to speak out against it because A, you get it out of your system, B, it's content, you get paid for it, C, the people in your live chat will prove you right and they'll agree with you and they may say things that further your conviction and it feels good and like you get paid doing it and your audience likes to see you passionate about something, but ultimately this just results in escalation. And so it may be good and cathartic for certain things, but at the end of the day, like it just keeps upping the ante. And it isn't something that if you genuinely want to be left alone, that you have you can keep doing. If you want things to stop and if you want harassment to stop, it just sucks. It does suck, but like you have to walk away, you know? And hey, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he has tried to walk away and things keep getting worse, right? But you literally, I just feel like can't talk about it at all. It has to be like an awkward elephant in the room that you just don't look at, you kind of ignore, you ban people who talk about it, you mute the word on Twitter, and then you fuck off, and then you wait for it to blow over, and it will blow over, and there will be new things to talk about. But I don't know. Maybe if I was in his shoes, I'd do the same thing. It's just from what I understand about like how the internet works and how, the ping pong of internet beef works. Ethan tried to distance himself from Hasan after figuring out that he was bad news. Yeah, I understand that. And then Hasan's audience freaked out. I'm more so talking about like the denim stuff, and then it spirals, and then there's Noah Samson stuff, and then there's Rogan and this and that. Like it just, I don't know.
Let's think about it on a micro level. Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop. It can literally go on
That's
forever
kind of what I'm talking about.
if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of like
that's kind of what I was saying.
A line, what happened today, that should never be crossed, even by like the most cynical, toxic people. It's going to have ramifications in terms of how I conduct myself. In terms of these fair weather friends who are, so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ethan, that is a rich thing to say. Like you're the H3 podcast, okay? There's a lot of friends of the show. There's even more fair weather.
The unfortunate part is that ignoring the trolls only works 40% of the time, but it works like infinitely more percent of the time when you're H3 and your audience compared to most of the people who you're taking issue with is like 100 or 1,000x, right? He has 4 million subs or 3.8. These people have like 100 to 300 live viewers max, and then the biggest one being Hasan with like, 10 to 30K live. But Hasan isn't talking about him. He won't even watch the content nuke that Ethan made. And then these other people, they don't have enough of an audience to actually be a problem. So
friends of the show. Let's not get into this shit, okay? That is so bizarre and insulting to suggest that I was only ever being friends with you to get something out of it. No, I'm friendly with you, and I'd say I'm a light friend because it's been pleasant hanging out with you. I've enjoyed your content over the years, and as of late, it's gotten really fucking shitty.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Who else? Who else do we want to burn today?
Who else do we want to burn today? You're making it so fucking obvious that this is your emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are. There was a way to approach this to say like, yeah, we feel hurt by you guys not saying something.
I don't like the tone policing. Like that I don't believe in. I don't think that you can look at Ethan Klein and really understand the amount of emotions that he's processing and then say, well, you could be nice. You could be nice about it. Why don't you just calm down, bro? Don't tase me, bro. You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? I just feel like you can't look at someone who is going through all of this shit and then say, you gotta just chill out. Take a chill pill, big boy. I just don't think it works like that, Like, just calm down is what he's saying.
You've decided to do
Like, this is serious, right? Like, this is affecting his livelihood, and you can't...
extra thing and attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back, but I feel very insulted and...
Like, imagine, yeah, like, I mean, you have to just maintain a level of self-awareness there. Like, when you're doing a content cop H3, and it's like an hour long, and it's gonna go viral, and that he is literally still dealing with all of this bullshit, have the audacity to say, just calm down. You're adding fuel to the fire. You can't tell someone to calm down when you're adding fuel to the fire. I feel like that's fucking retarded. I know it's fucking retarded.
And I feel defensive, and I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you. And a lot of people who have been on the receiving end of your harassment.
It's so easy to be anti-racist. Everybody's anti-racist. Racism is the worst thing in the world, right? We fucking hate racists. Fuck racists.
Microaggressions.
The minute that they actually have to stick their neck out for somebody, the minute they have to actually risk something to put themselves in under scrutiny, to sacrifice something personally to stand up for racism, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I don't want to get involved.
And that's drama.
How much do you care?
I don't do drama.
How much
Sorry.
do you actually...
Like, yeah. Like, most people... I mean, even this argument, like, you realize that this is just basic human psychology and like survival instincts, right? Most people are anti-racist, fight racism. But we're in a real instance of a police officer pulling a gun on a black person happens. You don't jump in front of the gun to stop the bullet from hitting the black guy. Oh, really? Yeah, that's fucking shocking to nobody at all. You can be anti-racist in principle and do everything in your power to make the lives of those who are disenfranchised easier, but at the end of the day, you're not going to kill yourself to save a black person or, someone who's being racially profiled. That's fucking, yet again, retarded. I feel like both people are just going band for band on terrible points right now.
Actually care isn't that the whole point? Like,
I realize that
it is a little bit different, I think, in this context, though. Like, the actual argument is stupid. I think in context, though, if we're talking about iDubbbz, it makes a little bit more sense, because, like, let's say you're jumping in front of the gun that's shooting at your friend. It makes a bit more sense. It's still, like, Ian doesn't want to throw his hat in the ring, and I think he just wants you to let it blow over.
Ethan and Hila are more scared now than they've probably ever been. I feel like anti-Semitism is a thought in their heads now more than ever. And it's not completely unjustified to be thinking about that sometimes. You guys are just hurt, and you're kind of like dancing around and making very like loose, poorly thought out analogies for something that doesn't even apply to us. It's like, Like, me making this video is the standing up for something, and it's saying, fuck you, you guys are being bad. You know, I don't think you're bad people, but you're being bad. You're behaving poorly. You're hurting people.
I mean, go back to the civil rights. You think that the people who are like the white kids who are protesting with the black students, you think that they were just like not risking anything? Those kids who are marching with the black students.
Is this what we're doing? Bruh.
We're just like not risking anything. Those kids who are marching with the black students and.
So in Ethan's analogy, he's the black student and I'm the white student, but I'm the white student that's not, you know, marching by his side. I'm not doing the difficult thing. You're gonna have to march on your own.
That is pretty funny. That analogy is pretty funny.
Black student.
Marching with the.
He's Rosa Parks.
Black students and.
I mean, why is it inspiring? Why is it inspiring?
Well, and
why is Ethan basically saying, no, you can't take his seat in the back of the bus? Or no? Fuck, I forgot what happened.
It's the same thing, to bring it back to Hasan just because, but it kind of is the same thing. Like, I was thinking about going to Gaza until I found out he's a total performative activist that doesn't give a single fuck about the cause.
It's been performed exquisitely. Harassing one person and seamlessly transitioning into harassing another one. If anyone's been watching for the past fucking year, I'm pretty sure they have a good idea of your feelings about Hasan.
Like, people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with
ain't finna move Ethan
Denims is
Parks.
streaming this story.
I think that's what he said.
I know that, yeah.
Getting
should
Giardia
ask
from the
iDubbbz,
dog,
though.
whatever.
I'm sorry, I'll accept this position from anyone except you guys. You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people's shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect Anissa, of all people, to say something to denims? Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all the time. But I have a feeling you guys wouldn't like if we said shit like that to you all the time. Yeah, we've been respecting you as independent content creators. You can do what you want. We'll treat you as adults. Maybe we shouldn't have been treating you as adults.
She could say so much, and it would make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's not comfortable. She'll get a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just for
but
saying
that would be commendable.
And by the way, it kind of speaks for itself that saying, hey, their house is clean, they're, they're actually good people, like that's going to get you shit. That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have Giardia or whatever the fucking the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out?
Like, this is just not true. I feel like this isn't true at all because, I mean, he, at the beginning of the video, literally says that he had an editor that he hired that is, like, chirping Ethan Klein on the daily about all of this shit. So if he says no one would care, yeah, people would care. There would be people who would look at you differently. Probably the people that you're defending in this video, I would imagine. Like your former editor, like Denims, I would assume. I mean, isn't that like the entire point? Like, if you took the opposing side that you are right now, is he really saying this? I mean, like, really?
Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have Giardia or whatever the fucking the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would...
I mean, this would be in direct opposition to, like, almost everything that your boy was tweeting. So, like, yeah, people would care. I don't understand. Because if no one would care, if no one would actually care, he's basically saying that there would be no risk to throwing his hat in the ring, which he doesn't want to do, and he got fucking flamed for not doing. So obviously he knows that someone would care, otherwise he would have done it. If he knew no one would care and he could help his friend out in the public spotlight with no risk to himself, then he would have done it. So obviously he knows that people would care. What?
Care independent content creators. You can do what you
I
want.
need to...
Yeah, dang, shit.
Are great with their kids. Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have Giardia or whatever the fucking the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing something that's difficult.
That's not true at all, though. He's saying that he's not doing it because he doesn't care, but It's because he knows this entire beginning is him knowing how much people care that he's close to. And then he's saying, oh, I wouldn't do it because no one would really care. I could say all this stuff, but I'm not going to just cause. That's just not true. This is completely wrong.
Lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out.
Because you're not his lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. Okay. Interesting.
I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing something that's difficult and standing by your...
Christ. Ian has no idea what a friend is. Bros before hoes, bro. I mean, that's like the weakest excuse that you could possibly give. Like, it's more dignified to be like, yeah, I just didn't want to voice an opinion on something so polarizing because I think that, you know, some of the heat that's being thrown on you would be thrown my way, and I don't want to deal with it because people already hate me. That'd be actually far more dignified than saying, oh, I'm not your bitch, so I'm not going to defend you. No one thinks you're his bitch for saying some shit like that. I don't think anyone would think that. They would dislike you, but they wouldn't dislike you for being his bitch. That's not true.
Principles. That's the whole point. That's what makes standing by your principles admirable, is that it's not always easy.
Why are you saying that I'm not standing up for my principles when you don't even know what they are? I get, like, we're a little bit past directly naming me, so we might have gone off on a tangent. If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles. Now we're going to talk about the BDS list. We're going to start off with Frogan because obviously this is like as bad as it gets. If you're following Frogan, that can only mean that you're anti-Ethan. Oh, this is not a good start. Love of the H3 podcast. You are following Frogan, so that means that you are anti-Ethan. Sam, Morg Pie, friend of the show. Olivia, Ian, Dave.
I literally could not give a single fuck about this part, man. Like, at all. Like, what? This is like so cancer, dude. This is like friends of friends and shit. Yeah. I just have to skip this. All right, what's the next segment?
A producer for...
You're not
on Lexapro. I was prescribed it and it was in my bedside. And then it was the Bill Burr episode that made me finally start.
When Stavros goes on Hasan's stream and he mocks your content nuke.
I actually saw a really interesting video about you, man, and I don't know that I'm even comfortable being here anymore.
Oh, no.
It really kind of shed light on you in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of like have leftist politics and stuff like that. And I actually feel betrayed. Yeah. So I'm actually just here to let you know this is the last time I'm ever coming.
You don't fire back because you're coping. So you're just going to tuck your tail between your legs and never mention on your podcast that mentions everything. You're bringing up some fucking connection I have on Twitter.
How long is this video? It's an hour.
Someone mocks you on a stream. You're not touching it. Fuck you. You're a coward. It's just his job. It's just what he does for his job. You know, he doesn't mean it. We're actually good friends. You know, he makes fun of that.
Yeah, I need to skip this whole, like, this is so AIDS, dude. Look how many people there is. I'm not tracking each of these people and who they're friends with and who they follow. I'm just not.
Matt Lee.
I need to skip this.
Place is because he...
I just can't. What's the next segment?
And you've got an audio.
And we're going to call you out.
So here's the button. You've got a video and you've got an audio. We're hitting both.
Oh my god, dude. I don't know. This just seems like a fucking boring nothing burger.
Goblin mode? Is that what you're calling Tourette's now?
To all victims of Goblin Mode, I would like to issue an apology.
Well, you got Goblin Mode today. You're Goblin Mode. Look how many times you paused it.
I'm trying, bro.
And I don't think there's no room for using the term Goblin Mode. I like the idea that you're defending yourself and the little guy by going Goblin Mode when a big corporation or a big entity is trying to attack you.
Like, if you fuck me over, if you steal money from me, if you patronize me, if you do any of this shit like you're trying to do to me, to treat me like a fucking idiot, I'm crazy.
I'm gonna be so honest, guys. I'm legitimately falling asleep. I just can't do it. This is like really nothing. It's really nothing.
I'm trying, bro.
And I don't...
It's just nothing. I can't. I mean, unless there's like a fucking massive gem at the very end of this, I've seen basically just a complete snooze fest. What a fucking boring content cop, bro. Shit's buns. This is buns. Not gonna lie.